Right now, you are doing something absolutely insane. You are taking invisible air, pushing it through a tiny hole in your throat, shaping it with your tongue and lips, and somehow, another human brain on the other side perfectly understands what you mean. We call this talking. And we do it so automatically, so effortlessly, that we never stop to ask the most mind-blowing question of all. How did this even start? Because here's the thing. Every other animal on this planet communicates. Birds sing. Wolves howl. Bees do a literal dance to give each other directions. But none of them ever sat down and told a story. None of them ever said why. None of them ever asked what if. Only humans did that. And the story of how we got here, from grunts and gestures to poetry, philosophy, and YouTube videos, is one of the most fascinating journeys in the history of our species. Let's go back. All the way back. Imagine you are alive 2 million years ago. You are not quite human yet. You are Homo erectus, one of our earliest ancestors. You walk upright, you use simple tools, and you live in small groups. But you cannot talk. Not a single word. You communicate the way animals do: gestures, facial expressions, grunts, and screams. You point at danger. You growl when threatened. You make sounds when you find food. And for hundreds of thousands of years, that was enough. But something was changing inside the human brain. Slowly, quietly, over millions of years, our brains were getting bigger. Specifically, a region called Broca's area, the part of the brain responsible for producing speech, was developing in ways it never had in any other species. Here is a wild fact. Scientists found a 1.75 million-year-old fossil of Homo erectus and discovered the brain already had an early version of Broca's area. That means the hardware for language was being installed in the human brain long before any actual talking happened. Think of it like a phone being manufactured before the software is ready. The equipment was there. It was just waiting for the right moment to switch on. So when did it actually happen? When did the first human open their mouth and say something that meant something? Honestly, nobody knows exactly. Language leaves no fossils. You cannot dig up a conversation. Words disappear the moment they are spoken. So scientists have to be detectives, using clues from bones, brains, and behavior to piece together the story. But here is what the evidence suggests. Around 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens, that is us, appeared on the planet. And almost immediately, the archaeological record starts showing something different. Cave paintings. Decorations. Ritual burials. Objects that have no practical use have only a symbolic meaning. And symbolic thinking is the key. Because to draw a picture of a lion on a cave wall, you have to be able to think about the lion when it is not there. You have to hold an idea in your mind and represent it. That is the same mental skill you need to use a word. A word is just a symbol. The sound tree does not look like a tree. It does not feel like a tree. It is just a noise we all agreed means tree. And that agreement that shared a symbolic code that is language. Most scientists now believe modern language, full and complex, was in place by at least 100,000 years ago. Some believe it goes back even further, maybe 500,000 years, in a simpler, more primitive form. But why did language evolve at all? What pushed humans to start talking when no other animal did? Scientists have been arguing about this for centuries. But there are three main theories that stand out. Theory 1, the social glue theory. Humans are deeply social animals. We live in groups. And in a group, trust is everything. Who is your friend? Who is your enemy? Who can you count on? The British anthropologist Robin Dunbar had a fascinating idea. He noticed that primates, monkeys, and apes build trust through grooming. They pick bugs off each other for hours. It is slow, physical, and only works one-on-one. But as human groups got bigger, you could not groom everyone. There was not enough time. So language evolved as vocal grooming. Gossip, storytelling, and chatting were ways to build bonds with multiple people at once. To say I trust you, I know you, you are part of my tribe, without needing to touch anyone. In other words, the first conversations may have been gossip. Theory 2, the hunting and cooperation theory. Early humans were hunters. And hunting big animals, woolly mammoths, and giant deer requires coordination. You need to plan. You need a strategy. You need to say you go left, I go right, we attack from both sides. Grunts and pointing are not enough for that. You need real language. And so the pressure of survival may have forced humans to develop more and more complex communication. Theory 3, the teach me theory. Humans are unique in one more way. We teach. We pass knowledge between generations. How to make fire. How to find water. Which plants are poisonous. No other animal teaches the way we do. And to teach complex skills, you need language. Words let you transfer thousands of years of knowledge from one brain to another without the other person having to figure it all out from scratch. Language is essentially a cheat code for human survival. Here is one of the most debated questions in all of science. Did all human languages descend from a single original language? A mother tongue spoken by the very first talking humans? Some researchers believe yes. They call this hypothetical original language proto-human or proto-world. And there is some tantalizing evidence. Across completely unrelated languages that developed on opposite sides of the planet with zero contact, you find strange similarities. The word for mother in dozens of unrelated languages all contain the sound ma or mama. English mama. Swahili mama. Mandarin mama. Georgian dida, okay, that one breaks the pattern. But the ma sound appears far too often to be completely random. Why? Because ma is one of the very first sounds a human baby can make. The lips come together. Air passes through. And the person who responds, the person who feeds you and keeps you alive, gets named after that sound. Language may have started with a baby's lips. But here is the truth. Most linguists believe we simply cannot trace language back far enough to know for certain. Languages change so fast within just a few thousand years that they become completely unrecognizable. The trail goes cold long before we reach the beginning. The origin of the very first language may be the one mystery we never fully solve. So how did we go from one or a few original languages to the 7,000 languages spoken on Earth today? The answer is separation. When groups of humans split apart and moved to different parts of the world across oceans, over mountains, into isolated valleys, their languages drifted apart. It works like this. Every generation, small changes creep into a language. New words are invented. Old ones are forgotten. Pronunciations shift. Grammar slowly evolves. When two groups stay connected, those changes stay in sync. But when they separate, after just a few thousand years, the languages become mutually unrecognizable. Latin is a perfect example. 2,000 years ago, across the Roman Empire, educated people all spoke Latin. Then Rome fell. The empire broke apart. Groups became isolated. And Latin slowly drifted into French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian, 5 completely different languages that all came from the same source. The same thing happened everywhere, throughout all of human history, across every continent. 7,000 languages. One source. Millions of years of separation. Here is something that should stop you cold. Right now, today, a language is dying approximately every 2 weeks. Of the 7,000 languages spoken on Earth, more than half are expected to disappear by the end of this century. Many have fewer than 10 speakers left, all of them elderly. When a language dies, it is not just words that disappear. Every language encodes a unique way of seeing the world. The Hopi people of North America have a language with almost no words, for time as a fixed thing, no past, present, future as separate boxes. The world is experienced as one continuous flow. That idea, that way of experiencing reality, exists nowhere else. The Piraha people of the Amazon have no words for numbers beyond 1 and 2. No creation myth. No fiction. Their language is so different from all others that it challenged the fundamental theories of how language works. Each language is a lens. And every time one disappears, a unique way of seeing the universe goes with it forever. Go back to where we started. Right now, you are pushing air through your throat and shaping it into meaning. You have been doing this your whole life without thinking about it once. But behind that simple act is 2 million years of evolution. Millions of generations of humans who slowly, painfully, brilliantly developed the ability to share their inner world with another person. Language is the reason you know about people who died 1,000 years before you were born. It is the reason science exists. It is the reason love songs exist. It is the reason this video exists. Every word you have ever said, every sentence you have ever heard, every story that has ever moved you to tears, all of it traces back to a moment, somewhere in Africa, hundreds of thousands of years ago, when one human opened their mouth and for the very first time made a sound that meant something. And another human understood. That moment changed everything. If this blew your mind, wait until you see our next video. Hit subscribe. We will see you there.